Hey, what's up, everyone? In this video, I wanted to share some results from one of my students, Walter, and also talk about why quitting your job may not be the best answer. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So this comment was made on one of my YouTube videos a few months ago. One of my other students, Elmer, posted this video. Walter commented on it, and he just said that, he's first off, he congratulated Elmer. And then he said, I want to thank Nick also for clearing up a lot of my confusion in working tax overages and mortgage overages. I purchased Nick's course in September, I believe. I'm excited to say I have about 8 to 9 deals with the attorney from December alone and one from October. I hope to work this full time. So I saw this just going through my channel and I was kind of curious. So I reached out to Walter and just wanted to see how he was doing. This was his response. I apologize, it's kind of blurry because I had to stretch the email response. And he sends me this response in this little update via email. He says, hi, Nick, my family and I are truly blessed. I set a goal at the beginning of the year to make 6 figures, around 100K. I am on schedule to make around 200 to 250K. However, I still have my day job as a senior credit analyst, making about 92K a year. I'm doing the overage business about 3 to 4 hours a day, sometimes. Thanks for your course. It has taken off the limitations of what can be accomplished if you set your mind to it. Again, thanks, Walter. Wow. First off, congrats to you, Walter, for doing amazing and hitting your goal. That's amazing. I mean, I don't think Walter's been in this even a year yet and is already set to make 6 figures, double what he set out to do, 200K. Simply amazing. It's when I get messages like this that I think, wow, whatever the price of the program, it should be 10x what it is currently. I'm pretty sure I undercharge severely for what I teach, but that's not the point of this video. Number one, obviously, and I've received many messages like this of other students who have hit that 6-figure mark and at a part-time basis, okay? Notice 3 to 4 hours a day. Like if you could work 3 to 4 hours a day and make 6 figures, number one, would you be interested in that? Number two, how would that change your life? What would be different for you? Not just from a financial perspective, but how would your relationship with your significant other or your children or your family members, how would that change? Would it improve? How would your health benefit from that? If you had more time to dedicate to taking care of yourself, exercising, doing things that you want to do, creating experiences, creating memories. That's the aftermath. That is I guess the thing that matters most is not just necessarily the income that you can generate from doing this business, but what is a result of making that income and not having to work 80 plus hours a week for that income. Now you have to be disciplined. You have to be consistent. Obviously, Walter has a good system in place. Whatever he's doing, he has a very good system, and I'll bet he does it consistently, as that seems to be the key to a lot of folks' success is consistency in the business. The best system is whatever system that you will work and that works for you and your schedule and that you'll do on a consistent basis, okay? Now, here's the other thing I wanted to highlight. He mentions, I still have my day job, almost as if that's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Now, if you hate your day job, that's something else. But here's the thing, guys. You probably know my story. If you don't know my story, really briefly, I'll just share it. I used to be a prison guard. I worked at the Utah State Prison. Then I promoted and became a probation agent. I don't know why that camera's being weird. There we go. So I worked for the Utah Department of Corrections, and I made, starting out, I was under 40K a year. I think my best year at the Department of Corrections was about $48,000 is what I made in income. Okay. So my story is I learned about overages while I was working my day job. I did a couple deals while still working my day job. So I started out part-time, and in 2017, I left, quit my day job, went into overages full-time. By the end of 2018, had reached that six-figure mark as well in the overage business. I wasn't teaching or anything at that time. Okay. And, then I continued to go from there. Now, here's the thing though. I don't, just because that's my story, it doesn't mean that it has to be your story either. And I think this is because I think there is a lot of misconception out there in the fact that you have to have this story where you just quit your job cold turkey and then you go into business and it's, burn the ships and you either make it or break it, right? I think that those stories exist. My story would fall in that category, but I think they're rare and I think they are not the norm. And I don't recommend them for most people. If you have a good job, like if you're making 60K plus a year, like all your needs are met, you live a decent lifestyle, you're comfortable, whatever. I don't know if I would recommend you to quit your job. What I would probably recommend is keep that job, take all of your profits from your overage business because you shouldn't have too much overhead, and invest as much of that money as you can into investments that are going to yield you a return, that are going to grow over time, and that are also going to provide you a cash flow income. Okay. There's real estate is a fine example of that. There's opportunities like that in the crypto space you can look into. But that is what I would recommend for those of you that have a good job. Because if I had been making 60, 70, 80K a year at the Department of Corrections, I probably would have thought twice about leaving. Because here's the thing, guys, when you quit, when you are self-employed, your costs are going to explode. What do I mean by that? Health insurance. Let's talk about that for a minute. At the state, I paid, I think, $200 a month for health insurance for my entire family. Fantastic health insurance. Guess what I pay now? Almost a grand a month. It's like $917 a month is my medical insurance premium for my family. And my deductible is like almost 20 grand. Whereas at the state, I was paying $200 a month in premium, and I think my deductible was like 6K or something. So something to think about. Okay. Consistency. There is something to be said about a 9-to-5 job, that it provides consistency, provides, that biweekly paycheck. Your income is steady with a 9-to-5. Overages, if overages is your sole source of income, your income's going to do this. It's going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. Some months you'll have a killer month, and some months you won't see a dime. You'll see zero. Okay. So for those of you that have a good job, I would recommend keep the good job, hit that 6-figure mark in overages, and plow as much money as you can into an investments that are going to yield you a return. Because if you do that for the next 4 to 5 years, I think you'll be all right. Okay. Like, let's say, for example, because let's say you hit 200K a year. And let's say you invest half of that. So 100K a year. And let's say you just throw it in the S&P 500, or let's say you get 10% a year. What's that going to look like in 5 years? You know, let's see. Okay. Let's see what that would be like. Where's the almighty? So think long term for a moment. Bear with me for a moment here. So you put in 100K initially, and then 100K divided by 12. So that's 8,333. You do that for the next 5 years, and let's say you get a return of 10%. Okay. So it's not crazy, but in 5 years, you know, you could be sitting on almost $1 million. If you, let's say you get a 20% return, which you could do that in crypto fairly easily. Let's go to Terra Protocol or whatever, Luna. You'd have $1 million. Okay. For a lot of folks, if you can get to $1 million, if you can get to $1 million invested, and then you can get a 10% return on that million every year, that's a 6-figure income. And at that point in time, then you can leave your job. Or let's say you do it for 10 years. Okay. What would that look like? Cool. 10 years, you could have maybe 1.8 or 3.2 million, depending on where your return falls. So that's what I would recommend, guys. Just, I'm not a financial advisor. This is simply opinion. Okay. It's just an opinion. But for those of you that have good jobs, it might be best to keep that good job, do the overage business on the side, have it be a side income, a 6-figure side income that then you can fund investments that will then grow and compound over time. And those things will then allow you to eventually leave your job and retire completely. Okay. Just my 2 cents. That's if you have a good job. If you're making, 60K plus a year, keep it rolling and do overages on the side. Now, for me, it was a little different because if you're at the bottom, if you're like making less than 50K a year, if you're making 40, 30 or below that, you're kind of already at the bottom. And so the only place you can go is up. And so that was kind of that was my story. I was at the bottom. And so the risk was I either quit and I'll go up, which is what happened, or I'll go below what I'm already at, which is not pretty close to the bottom anyway. And I'll just go back to the prison because they're always hiring corrections officers. That was the risk. But for those of you that maybe already make 6 figures or high, 5 figures at your day jobs, you have a little more to lose. So it depends on your goals. It depends on what you want to accomplish. Again, this is just opinion. This is not financial advice, but I wanted to create this because it's okay, guys, to have a 9 to 5. There's nothing wrong with having a 9 to 5. Especially if it gives you a good lifestyle and it gives you what you and your family need. Not everybody needs to be a full-blown 24/7 entrepreneur business owner. And in fact, I would say that it's that type of lifestyle is not what it's cracked up to be. It's a lot of stress involved, a lot of worry, a lot of unknowns. If you can balance the two, I think everyone should have everyone should have some sort of business, whether you're full-time or part-time or whatever, because you want to have multiple sources of income, right? So if you have a good 9 to 5, then just develop, your side gig to a 6-figure point part-time. And then now you have 2 incomes versus 1. And then you can use write-offs from the business to lower your tax liability from your W-2 income, okay? All sorts of stuff you can play with. But anyway, the point of this, guys, is number 1, get clear on what your goals are, what you want to accomplish. And then draw out, make a plan of how you can get to that goal and what your vehicle is going to be, whether it's overages or maybe it's something else. And then eliminate as much of the downside as possible. Eliminate as much of the risk as possible. If that means staying at your job for a little bit, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Eliminate the risk as much as possible and expose yourself to as much upside as possible. Okay. And anyway, I hope this makes sense. I hope that helps you guys. I just wanted to make that because there's all this hype out there about being a business owner and, leaving the 9 to 5. Honestly, though, guys, nothing wrong with a 9 to 5. There's some days where I'm like, a 9 to 5 would be nice some days, but it is what it is. So appreciate you guys watching. Hope that was helpful. Till next time, we'll see you.